Now that's an important question. Stick to the subject.
I can't even give you a complete list of the plethora of TV shows, not even films, because that would be even more, but just TV shows that have come out in recent years attempting to get everyone to buy into the concept that reality isn't really what you think it is, and you yourself, you're not really who you think you are. And actually now they're doing a Twilight Zone reboot. So there you go.
To serve man, it's a cookbook.
But we have officially entered the phase of technology merging with reality that Elon Musk used to do a bit about every time people invited him to open his mouth in public for like 2 years.
40 years ago, we had Pong, where you had like two rectangles and a dot, like two rectangles and a dot. But now you can see a video game that's photorealistic, almost photorealistic. 40 years later, we have photorealistic 3D simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously, and it's getting better every year. And you see where things are going with virtual reality. Soon we'll have virtual reality, augmented reality. If you extrapolate into the future and say, well, how good, let's say, will video games be in 100 or 200 or 1,000 years from now? If you extrapolate that out into the future with any rate of progress at all, if you assume any improvement at all, like even 0.1% or something like that, any improvement, 1%, 0.1%, then the games will become indistinguishable from reality. Then eventually those games will be indistinguishable from reality. Beyond a certain resolution, indistinguishable from reality. Just indistinguishable. If it's so realistic, you will not be able to tell the difference between that game and the reality as we know it. Then games will be indistinguishable from reality.
They just kind of tell themselves, don't they? Here's another one. Have you heard about this new robot that seems to be able to jump and spin and do things that most human beings can't even do? Well, it's getting a lot of buzz online. The video's gone viral showing what may be the future of robots. What is it?
It's called Atlas, and it was developed by the tech company Boston Dynamics. The robot stands 4 foot 9 inches and weighs 176 pounds, but it has the agility and nimbleness of a professional gymnast, rolling, jumping, and spinning. The video posted September 24th and already has more than 3 million views. Boston Dynamics writes, "We created the maneuvers using new techniques that streamline the development process. First, an optimization algorithm transforms high-level descriptions of each maneuver into dynamically feasible reference motions. The robot then tracks the motions with what's called a model predictive controller, thus developing a routine, quote, significantly faster than previous Atlas routines. Translation, it's faster, stronger, and better." Boston Dynamics is known for creating robots that mimic humans and animals, like Spot here. Cool, but also kind of creepy. This video from 2016 shows an older version of Atlas marching through snowy woods. Just imagine hundreds or thousands of them, kind of like the droid army from the Star Wars Phantom Menace movie.
Steady, steady.
Back to the Atlas robot in video. One YouTube user describes a fictitious conversation going like this. Boston Dynamics employee, "Hey pal, how are you today?" Atlas, "I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle." Sound familiar?
"I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle."
For now, Atlas doesn't ride a motorcycle or wear clothes. It also doesn't have the artificial skin that some companies are already in the process of developing for robots. But that's for a later story. To quote the Terminator, "I'll be back."
Watch now. CES 2020 is underway in Las Vegas, and one major theme at this year's conference is health and wellness. But we're not just talking about your typical fitness trackers you might see on your wrist. Across the country these days, CNET senior producer Dan Patterson gives us a preview of the wellness trends that will dominate your newsfeed over the next couple of months.
Today is the first day of the Consumer Electronics Show, CES, here in Las Vegas. Now, CES is all about the future of technology, and this year, the biggest trend seems to be you. Your health, your fitness, your life is all about trackers and sensors, but the trackers and sensors kind of go far beyond just step tracking, and many of the devices this year use artificial intelligence not just to analyze your data, but to improve your quality of life. So this actually extends far beyond just you to your doctor and the entire healthcare professional industry. Doctors are using digestible, wearable, and even embedded health trackers and sensors to make more precise diagnoses and help hospitals and patients better understand their treatment. And artificial intelligence is embedded in many of these new devices, and that helps doctors save lives by saving time and being a heck of a lot more accurate. Simple step trackers and health trackers like your Fitbit or your Apple Watch, these are really great, but here at CES this year, they're kind of old news. For you, your body, your health, it's all about sophistication and AI this year. Health trackers use sensors to monitor what you eat, how you sleep, how you move, by integrating your activity with your full health history and using AI to keep doctors up to date in real time. One great example is your mouth. Hey, look, your teeth are really high tech, and so too are the mouth monitoring and teeth cleaning devices that we've seen this year. That may seem kind of trivial unless you've had dental problems, and then knowing the information about your teeth and your mouth becomes critically important when integrated with your full health profile. So using AI to help you and your doctors understand your dental health, huge this year.
The games will become indistinguishable from reality. Then eventually those games will be indistinguishable from reality. Beyond a certain resolution, indistinguishable from reality. Just indistinguishable. If it's so realistic, you will not be able to tell the difference between that game and the reality as we know it. Then games will be indistinguishable from reality.
Some of the games that are coming out right now, if you weren't told it was a game and you just saw footage from it, you wouldn't know that it was. It's getting to that point. Musk also talks about the fact that the VR is getting to a point that when people do it and then they take the helmet off or whatever, they come out, it's like some of the more high-end stuff they got coming out right now. When they're back in actual real physical reality that they're in, they feel like the VR was more real than the actual world. That's the level that we're at with this. That video editing technology where a person can take a video of someone, of anyone, and make it say whatever they want it to in real time, that we reported on 3 years ago, has only gotten more sophisticated now.
Look how much you can distort the message by hijacking someone's face. It's really uncanny and eerie. I guess they're gonna try to give society schizophrenia, trying to figure out when they're in the real world.
And I've got a single camera here that's watching my face and feeding some machine learning software that's taking my expression, like, and transferring it to that guy. He's actually a 3D character that I'm controlling live in real time.
And has led the way to the creation of what is now called deep fakes, which really are some of the most hideous abominations imaginable, like this scarring video of Steve Buscemi merged with Hunger Games actress Jennifer Lawrence.
I just like, it was just, this was very truly surprising for me.
Just, nobody wants that. Really, they don't.
And I hope I'm never in that situation.
And that probably won't be the last time I use the word abomination in this video.
When you go to download the software for the first time, there's a link to a Nicolas Cage face set.
So you could put Nick Cage's face on my body.
That's correct.
Could you do it now?
Of course.
Oh my God.
The bees, not the bees. In fact, Samsung has developed an AI that only needs one image. Just one. And they can make it move and talk as if the person in the picture is alive.
I look at those videos and it's kind of fun to watch. And you start thinking, wow, that's really cool. Is there another side to it that we should be thinking about?
By design. Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Why does a robot have to look like a man? Why does it have to have legs and arms and a head and jump? Because by design, they want the robot and you to relate as something you know. Remember during our era of Lost in Space, Ranger Will Robinson, R2-D2, the lovable robot.
Right.
Now imagine that has 50 caliber machine guns or lasers. It's not cute anymore.
Right.
What scares me, Rick, more than the robot is artificial intelligence. That is something, remember, we program robots.
By the way, I can't stop, you know, I'm a big sports fan. So on weekends, I like to watch my Minnesota Twins or Miami Dolphins or whatever. I like to watch sports. Every commercial is about, you know, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. It's coming. It's going to be great. It's going to make your life wonderful. I think about you all the time when I see those commercials. They're everywhere.
Artificial intelligence programs itself. And the first thing artificial intelligence wants to do is to figure you out. And whenever we talk about robots, whether it's sex robots or war robots, we're not talking about something that we are in control of anymore. Now the next part, once these are armed, let's go back in time. One of the worst things that ever happened in warfare was the use of the longbow. Because it was the first time that man separated himself from mano a mano, I'm looking at you in the eye and I'm stabbing you and I'm smelling you when we're fighting. And once I distance myself from my enemy, I lose the impact of what I'm doing. You're not the same. I can divorce myself. I've shot the arrow, I don't have to see
It's almost
anymore.
cowardly, right?
It's called artillery. It's called bombing. It's called warfare. Now, one of these days, we're going to have something like this, and they're going to tell you, Rick, there's not going to be any more Vietnam memorials. Not one American soldier will have to lose his life. Not one pilot. No more POWs. We remember the pilots who were shot down, brought back. We wore POW bracelets. No more.
Wow.
How can you turn your back on that? But it goes back to iRobot and Asimov and open the bay door panel.
So given where we are, this is fascinating and very well described by you, by the way. We're already almost there with drones, for example, and we're down to 30 seconds. But should we be doing something as nations to stop this trend?
Two things. Good point. Number one, when you hear a story, it's 5 years old already. That's 5 years old.
Wow.
Number two, we need a tribunal. We need a Manhattan Project where we as citizens say, we are not slaves to this. We can not only stop technology, but demand that people take into account and worry, where could this go next? To both educate and also to put the brakes on this, because we have some control.
Generated images, making it even easier than before to generate believable fake images. And they've done the same thing in other areas. You have AI that's attempting to create cats, and at least the computer is failing so far at making cats, and really just makes these H.P. Lovecraftian eldritch abominations. I don't even know what half of these are, if not creatures who disregard all natural laws of the universe as we understand them, otherwise defined as grotesque mockeries of reality beyond comprehension, whose disturbing otherness cannot be encompassed in any mortal tongue. Take everything back around full circle to the Samsung AI I mentioned earlier, which can take an image and make it talk, just one image. And what you have is artificial intelligence so advanced that it can now, in 2019, generate a completely fake person who does not exist and make that person talk. And most people will have no idea they're looking at someone who never existed, saying things that were never really said. That's just the technology that's been publicly released that we know about. So what we're talking about here is total technological control in a way that I don't think the average person can even fully grasp the level of. The 5 sense reality can be manipulated, just straight up. And so we're gonna live in a world where seeing is not believing. And if you're somebody who relies solely on that kind of principle, you're gonna be trapped in this matrix that they've been building for decades. This is what our film, The Minds of Men, is actually about, the world we're living in today. They've built this whole structure that they've placed over the natural world, and they can bypass your senses with it. Literally. That's what it means to say a world where you can't tell the difference anymore between reality and what that is and this matrix.
It's so realistic, you will not be able to tell the difference between that game and the reality as we know it.
And it's not a coincidence at all that all the movies and TV shows that you're seeing come out right now are just right there to reinforce this idea to you that reality is not what you think it is. You aren't who you think you are. There's a hidden secret you haven't been told about everything. It's all coming together. There's a reason people refer to this as spiritual warfare.